We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
And yeah, right here today on Jerry Bell's R&B Soul Classics,
Way Out.
Here on LA Talk Live, we're giving you some way out music. I see the grasshopper came up on something, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
brother, you trying to look at it, grinning and smiling like, you know.
I ain't new to this. I'm true to this. Nothing you can do to this. Mess around with me and come out black and blue this.
Oh my God.
Yo, go for what you know.
That brother is spouting.
Oh, damn it, you. I'm not an amateur, but a professional. I'm questionable without doubt superb. So full of action. My name should be a verb.
Putting that look at it.
Oh, some real talk. That's some Big Daddy Kane for you.
Welcome back
to another episode of Jerry Bell's
doing pimp poetry.
R&B Soul Classics here, exclusively on LA Talk Live.
Yes.
The world leader in reality broadcasting. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk, and welcome back.
Yeah.
Tosh, Ibrahim,
Yes.
Grandmaster, the beautiful Frederica.
And I have
this
today
wonderful young gentleman here.
All right.
my little
Raise your
man.
hand. Yeah.
It's my little man with me today, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
What's his
Pop?
name?
What's your name? Show him. Encore.
Encore.
That means
My
give
man.
me more.
Give me more.
That's nice.
Of what you're asking for.
That's right.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Well, welcome
man.
everybody back to another episode.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Feeling
Well,
good.
you know what? That phone call that came in, that was Wanda from the Emotions.
A word?
Cool.
Yeah, they
Going to be calling in today? Is that what it is?
No, they're actually going to try to come in next week.
Okay.
And then on the 19th, we got Bobby Brown
All right.
in the
Nice.
house.
All right.
You know what I mean?
You always do it big, Grandmaster.
Oh,
you know.
yeah.
Hey, brother.
No surprise to us.
I'm trying hard, you know what I mean? When you hardly trying.
Oh, wow.
Whatever.
Starting early, ain't he? He's starting early. Starting early.
Yeah, you know, he kicked off with a little way out. You know what I mean?
Oh, don't hate.
No, ain't no hate, brother.
It's unbecoming of you, Grandmaster, to show any haterism for my musical choices now.
Oh, let's check him out,
Not
man.
very becoming of you.
Listen, ain't no hate here, brother. I'm happy that you're going on and shoot your
wad
wad right now.
Way out. That's all I'm doing, man.
You know, he's
Where
like
you've never been before.
You know how Virgin. You know how this Virgin is. He shoot his wad and he, you know, it's over with. He go to sleep. You know?
Yeah. Sleep on me today.
Oh,
That's what
wow.
you should do. Sleep on me today.
Oh, he came prepared.
Anyway.
I love it. It's getting hot.
He's ready.
It's getting
Yeah,
hot.
he's
Right
ready.
from the
Every
jump.
week has been getting
Right
stronger.
from the
Oh,
jump.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, he's been all right. You know, he's
Man,
been.
I told
he's
you
been hitting
before.
and missing. You know,
I contemplate on these battles
Yeah.
immediately after the
Yeah.
fight. As soon as the final bell rings, I'm
It's like the master
mm,
versus
mm,
the student
mm.
type of thing
Yeah, you
going
know,
on with you too.
Hey,
And
brother.
again, big ups to the Grandmaster
Yeah.
because he is the
Brother.
Grandmaster by my own estimation. So
Yes.
big ups to him.
And this is Little Master here.
Right.
Little Master, encore, giving you more
Mhm.
of what you came to see. All right, that's enough of that. Anyway, so welcome Grandmaster and welcome Encore.
All right.
Cool with
yeah.
you? We might need to give him a mic a little later in the show. What do you say?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Mic you up. How old is he, Grandmaster?
How old? Tell him.
Wow.
6'6".
Congratulations.
Boy,
Oh.
he just turned 6 too. Huh?
Mm-hmm. Stay in that microphone. He might be the rookie. You're not, Grandmaster. So welcome to the show, Encore.
All right.
We're glad to have you.
Yeah, man.
Finally, outside of Tosh and Ibrahim, some good-looking faces at that end of the table. Going hard on the Grandmaster today. Going hard on him.
Now don't hurt him too, Belgian.
look, he rolled up
Okay,
his
don't hurt him.
sleeve.
Now. Yeah, he rolled his sleeve up. You saw that? Wow.
That's all right. You know what I mean? It's all good. But, you know, have your fun. But, you know, he who laughs first don't laugh last.
We shall see, Grandmaster.
Yeah, we shall see, brother.
So what do you got going on this week, my brother? Welcome back.
man,
Another episode of the show.
Yeah.
And with that gum, come on now.
It's good. And I had to chew it, man,
Yeah, I
because I
know.
was getting dry. You know what I'm saying?
Let's get that brother some water. You're going to have to put that in the back of the mouth like some minchwack.
Yeah,
And
brother.
just, sip on that a little bit.
And start with their classes that you taught this weekend.
Oh,
Oh,
some
yeah.
classes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard you mention that last week.
Yeah, I did a seminar this weekend at the Carras Unity Center.
Mhm.
We had about a good maybe 50 people that showed up. It was pretty hip. you
Yes.
know, and got a chance to expound on some things and they videotaped it, so you know the tapes will be available on between Friday and Saturday.
Okay.
But I'm planning to do another one in July. And this one is going to be real intense. I talked a lot on the subject about the stuff that's going on with the kidnapping here in California, especially Los Angeles and San Diego, because it's close to the border of Mexico.
Yeah.
And you know, there's a lot of kidnapping of children that the children, excuse me, the children are being taken and used in different excuse me, used in different sex rings, and they're using them for sacrificial situations in this devil worshiping stuff that they're doing out here. And a lot of Europeans are buying the children and taking them over for pedophile rings and stuff in Europe.
Sad.
So I was talking to preferably the women about keeping their eye on the kids, because a lot of women, they have children, they walk in 15 feet up and the children are behind them.
Right.
And this is how they're getting snatched up. People pulling up in trucks and in cars and snatching them up while they're on the cell phone.
Right.
You know, and you have people that are on the cell phone and be talking and walk right into you and still be talking.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so they are not aware and they don't pay attention. They stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just got to call it like it is.
Yeah.
They're stupid and they just walk right into you. No excuse me, no looking up. They still looking down, texting,
Wow.
you know, this kind of stuff. And they don't realize how serious and how deep this situation is on this child napping, and they're snatching women.
Yeah.
They're more so snatching females because they're looking for, you know, in sacrificial situations. I did some studying up on it. They use the women because of the young girls as the virgin situation. The purer
They
you
still
are.
got virgins out here?
You know, you got them.
Just have to say that. But go ahead.
I'm talking about young,
Yeah,
like
13,
5,
14.
6, yeah, even younger, you know. And the younger the virgins are, the more what they consider the pure the sacrifice is for whatever they're doing. You know what I mean? And so a lot of this they're not reporting it because the federal government is involved in a lot of this stuff too.
Wow.
Yeah, my thing is, I'm worse than the guy on Taken. Yeah, remember that movie?
I love
I'm worse
taking.
than him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you snatch mine.
Mhm.
Yeah, we got a serious thing coming because I'm killing everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Everything. I don't have an emotional content or factor
Mhm.
for what I would do to a
Right.
human being or a person that would take
Yeah.
my child.
I could just imagine, like, well, I really can't imagine, but just to think of that happening, the pain that a parent would feel. I mean, would life be worth living? I mean, I commend those that been through those things and survived and have to live day in, day out thinking about their child. For me, I couldn't
Yeah.
exist.
Yeah, I mean, um, I've lost a child before, so
Mhm.
I understand the feel.
In
Yeah.
front of
What the
them, my
feeling,
grandmaster,
what
please
the
stand in front
feeling,
of them.
yes, sir. What the
Mhm.
feeling is about, losing a kid,
Yeah.
and a lot of times, the emotional aspect is very heavy for a woman.
Yes.
You know, some men they go through what they go through with it. You know what I mean? They can't overcome the situation. But under these type of I mean, in tragic situations,
Mhm.
that's one thing. But these type of situations,
Mhm.
oh boy, you would read about me on every newspaper,
Mm.
every radio, every
Right.
TV show,
Yeah.
every news,
Mm.
whatever, NBC, CBS,
Right.
you would be reading about me, and nothing would stop me.
Wow.
Zero. A court ain't gonna hold them, and the earth ain't big enough to hold them,
Wow.
because I would find them for
Mhm.
sure. So anyway,
Thank you for sharing that with us and bringing that to the community.
yeah,
Because these women out here, they need to pay attention.
oh for
We're
sure,
being socially dumbed down
yeah,
by our gadgets and technologies, and just we're being distracted, and we need to
yeah,
get back to thinking and focusing on
yeah.
what's important.
I mean, I've seen women, on the phone, and the kid be saying something to them, while they're walking down the street,
Right.
and don't you see me on the telephone? And
Mhm.
I look at
Mhm.
them like, you got to be out of your
Right.
mind.
Yeah.
Yes.
If it was my wife or my
Mhm.
mother's or my son's mother,
Mhm.
my foot would be in her ass.
So to you, is there such word as overprotective?
Not at all.
Okay.
Not at all.
Yeah. Okay.
You have to protect your children
Mhm.
by any means necessary.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because if you don't, who is?
That's right.
You know what I mean? And you got to make them aware.
Yeah.
Some of the teens, some teenagers out there, the young girls, they get caught up. I have a situation right now. I got a phone call
Mhm.
from a friend of mine, and he's in Vegas, and he called me. He said, "Look, there's a woman that want to pay
Mhm.
to get her daughter back.
Mhm.
Mm.
She's 14 years old. Pimp snatched her up, took her to San Jose, and got her working on the streets. And so they asked me what would it cost me to go and go get her.
Mm.
So I mean, it's a lot of those situations that are at
You gonna go
hand.
get her? Okay. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
So it's
Mhm.
just a lot of things that we're dealing with out here. With our people that we're
Mhm.
not paying attention to. The other thing too is I would behoove people to go to YouTube and pull up their YouTube is it's amazing how the internet has opened the world up to
Right.
everybody. You can't hide stuff anymore. So you go on to YouTube, there are several things I would like for people to check out. One is I talked to someone before about this thing called crocodile babies.
Mm.
Have you ever heard of
I
that?
read about that.
You go on to YouTube and and go on YouTube and pull it up, and you'll see there's uh, um, 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 a wife and husband from the South
Mhm.
that their parents grew up during the slave
Mhm.
era, and they were talking. They were giving a story about how the Caucasian used to take the babies and hang them over trees
Mhm.
near the swamp as crocodile bait. And when the crocs would come up and grab them, then they crack the crocs in the head and then skin them and sell the skins. But
Mm.
the kids would be eaten.
Yeah.
And they would take the children. They would kidnap them and take them in the middle of the night from the parents, from the mothers. And mothers wake up the next day and the kids are gone, because you know how they used to keep us separated, keep the women over here, the men over there, the children over in one barn, and that kind of thing like this. So our history is very deep, very serious, and it's something that we should really pay attention to, because you really got to look at. It's hard for me to sit back and I hear people say, well, that
Forget
was
about
then.
it.
Yeah, we should forget it. No, you forget about it.
Right, exactly.
I ain't gonna never
Feelings
let you
mutual.
forget about
That's
it.
right.
Yeah, you know what I mean? The Jews don't forget about
That's
what
right.
they claim to be the Holocaust, which was us, you know what I mean? But they didn't dumb down the Indians.
Right.
I'm gonna give you some casinos and keep your mouth shut.
That's right.
But we annihilated everybody.
And point of fact, if you look at what's going on with the Native American community now, where you have the U.S. Child Services parceling out Native American children to white families, even though they're Native American families, they're blood relatives that are willing and able to take care of them if their parents die or whatnot, and fighting with the U.S. government to get their kids back.
Yeah.
And that's actually, it's been going on so long, there's actually before the Supreme Court right now, and that you have states that have been making money doing this.
Of course.
Because it's all a part of a money racket where they're like, these kids, putting them in foster programs, all this stuff, they get money from the federal government when they do that, and so they're using literally the Native American population as this sort of farm base, the children as money.
They do.
as a commodity.
They doing it. They're doing it with the kids in Haiti.
Yeah.
And the madness about that is, with the Haitian situation, they have a big group of homosexuals that are going over Caucasian males that are going over adopting the young boys.
Really?
This is a heavy situation. What's the brother's name that was running for governor or something, or president over there? He's a rapper.
John.
You know what I'm talking about?
Wyclef Jean.
Wyclef, yeah.
Jean,
Wyclef Jean had brought it up. He talked about it too. You know what I mean? It's a serious situation that's happening. Ever since that has taken place, they can't go into Africa and do it because the Africans, there's one president, I think he was in Zimbabwe, who caught some French. They were kidnapping the children over there.
But they were doing it for so long there, trying to come over there like, oh, we're helping, and
right, like they were missionaries.
Yes,
I call them
exactly.
mercenaries. And they were over there snatching the kids up and selling them on pornographic rings over in Europe.
And people think that that's isolated cases or whatnot. The reality is, you look at, for example, probably one of the most preeminent African scholars, Malidoma Somé, who's written numerous books on African spiritual systems, that sort of thing. His name literally means the friend of the enemy, and he was given that name because it was foretold that he was going to have to spend time with the enemy and then come back and tell the people about their enemy. And he came from a traditional society, and he was raised up by the missionaries. And in his book, he talks about how the missionaries had a system. It was systematic how they would rape and molest the children that they were supposedly bringing to Christ.
Right.
And that was the journey for him, was going through that process. He himself being molested and raped as a child, and then going through the Western educational system, and then returning back to Africa, as a priest, and and reconciling what he learned in the West with the traditional things. And so, but he goes in depth about how the missionaries, the heinous and egregious things that they do in Africa.
Hey man,
and it's constant. It's like systematic. It's not isolated cases.
Right. And the other aspect of that too is the Arabs had a big hand in that.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Arabs, they that's why I have a serious problem with them. They had a big hand in not only the molestational aspects, but even selling our people, to this diabolical fiend.
Well, you look, for example, when they look at the numbers of how many slaves were taken out of, because the Arab slave trade was concentrated on East Africa, and you look at the United States, and you have this
overwhelming population or just in the West in general, whether it's
Right.
Brazil, the United States, or any of the number of these countries. Each one of them has a very large, sizable, vibrant African population. If you go to the Arab states, you have these tiny African minorities, but not nearly the numbers, even though they were taking as many slaves out of Africa as Europeans were. Reason for that is that the Arabs had a system of castration.
Right.
So they normally wanted to take women out as concubines, and then the men who were taken were castrated immediately. And so, and all of this, of course, I mean, it runs counter to their religion and the whole nine, but when it came to Africans, it didn't matter whether they were Muslims or not. The rules were different.
Right.
And that sentiment still prevails. You deal with most Arab societies. You look at, for example, people getting married.
Right.
It's all right. I mean, there's going to be issues between cultures, but you bring that black one home.
Oh yeah, man. No.
You bring that one home.
Look,
And I remember bringing this up because somebody was saying that I remember getting into a heated discussion with an Arab who was trying to say, well, we didn't have the racial problems that you guys had to deal with here in the U.S. And I said, look at your own history.
Right.
You know, there's a scholar whose name escapes me right now, but he was one of the preeminent scholars, a Muslim theologian, and he lived in Baghdad during I want to say during the time of the Abbasids. And he was down at the marketplace, and a noble woman was asking an artist to make he was making a mural for her, this tapestry. And in the tapestry, it was supposed to be a scene from the Quran. And in the tapestry, she's instructing the artist how to weave these certain characters. And so at some point, the artist says, what do you want this particular, he kind of overhears the conversation. Like, he's asking her what she wants this particular figure to look like. And she's looking throughout the marketplace and she points at him, make it look like him. And when she leaves, he goes to the artist and inquires, what did she want? He said, oh, well, we're depicting, there's devils in the scene, and she wants the devils to look like you. And he's an African. And here he is walking the streets, the preeminent scholar of Islam in that region.
Right.
And she's like, he looks like a devil. And he had to write a book called The Merits of Blackness Over Whiteness. And in that book, he details what the color black means in the Quran and its values and its virtues and all these different things, and how the current culture seeks to undermine that, and how black is used in conjunction, for example, with the creation of Adam. The description of Adam is as black clay, right, and so on and so forth. And he goes into all these different things, and he's like, the pupil, the part of the eye that can see, is the blackness of the eye, but the whiteness of the eye has no ability. And so he's going through these different things, but it was overall just an analysis of color theory and how people have, distorted these ideas. But that fascination and that fixation on blackness, and also too, Europeans were not the first one to come up with the concept of this fixation on the potency of the black male. I mean, there's a treatise written by Tirmidhi in which he's talking about the different phenotypes of different groups of people, and that he goes into, when he gets to the African, he says the African is distinguished by his over-expressiveness in merriment and in sorrow, his absurd devotion to music, and an elongated absurd devotion to music, and an elongated penis. So right there, now that's his description. These are the distinctive traits in his mind of an African compared to an Arab. And so right there, he tells his own bias. He tells you his own cultural bias. He tells you his own deep inner secret, which is he's a physician and he's had to work with different patients, and he's noticing, well, these guys have bigger penis, and what that does to his psyche. So then when he's writing his educated treatise, he has to interject that, like, there's something wrong with them because of this. Can't be something wrong with me.
Right.
So it's this whole thing of, that fixation carries right on into the modern age.
Well, that's
Yeah, it
been
does.
going. That goes on with any any of the races when it comes to us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? One of the things that I've learned in my travels, because I've had an opportunity to, I'll say, partake
Mm-hmm.
in the treasures of other cultures when it comes to the women. Um, the biggest fear is our penis for the males.
Yeah.
They fear that with the you have no idea.
Oh my goodness. I've been told, I remember a German man took me aside, told me his greatest fear was that his wife would have sex with a black man.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
He was because she was getting real, like they were visiting Los Angeles, and I was just hanging out at the coffee shop doing handling. She kept on talking to me and asking me questions about the city, and I was telling her, "Oh, you can go here, you can do this, blah blah blah." And then before long, I realized, oh, these two are a couple, because she was pretty much ignoring his ass at some point, right? So eventually, when she goes to the bathroom, the guy starts talking about a number of things, and that came up, and I was like, oh, time to excuse myself from the situation. Like, it's just. But that is a constant fear.
Sound like he was trying to lure you in.
You
Like,
never
but
know.
like,
You know
what I
they
mean?
are
Like,
kind of freaky,
he was
but
setting
still.
a format, like,
Yeah.
I'm inviting you.
Of course. Yeah,
You
but
know.
they do that too.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's still the fear of it.
Yeah.
The fear of them is like, wow, if we know that you're going to dominate
Right.
because we are compassionate.
Yeah.
We're passionate people, especially the men. We know how to romance. They
Yeah.
don't. None of them.
Yeah.
Even our women are romancers.
I wouldn't go that far.
No.
So where did that rumor come from? Where did that rumor come from? Today, modern age women, they're talking about, we're going to go on break, but today, modern age women, they're talking about the black man isn't romantic. Because
That's
I'm
crap.
like, that's not,
We the first romantic. Listen to the music we write.
yeah.
This is how we move. Our
Yeah.
our motion is romantic.
It's time to change our way of thinking out there.
That's because they've been dumbed down by Batman and Superman and all them white boy heroes. Tom
Yeah.
Cruises, and they may try to make them look like
savior.
Yeah, no, and try to make them look like they are heroic type of men.
Yeah.
Are men, which
Right.
they are. Twisted, but
It's time for
Anyway.
our break, too.
we're going to take a break. We're going to take a pause for the calls, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're learning something from our conversations that we have. We don't mean to shortchange you on the music, because we're going to give you that.
Yeah, you're going to get your music.
Just like our brother Grasshopper, he slides in his little things here and there. We understand.
Right.
But it's all
Hey,
good.
brother,
I love it.
he's rolling.
I love it. Yeah, because
You
I'm
got to
roll.
you're gonna respond. You got to respond at some point, brother.
Listen, I'm gonna respond, brother. Look, he's talking to break. He want to get me out the air. He want to shut me down. We're coming back. You're listening to Jerry Bell's R&B Soul Classics here on LA Talk Live. You can call in at 323-247-7443 and ask us questions and request songs. I think the Grasshopper might have something in his catalog. If not, then I do. He might be short of it, because his size is like that too. He's a short guy. Grasshoppers are little people.
Personal attacks. We'll be back,
We'll
y'all.
be back, y'all. We'll talk to you in a moment. Peace.
See the message in the faces. Tell me what you can bring. Yeah, fighting for our places, keeping our souls in majesty.
We know there are many choices in internet radio, and the staff and host of LA Talk Live would like to thank you for choosing the internet's hottest destination for the most eclectic sound and invigorating talk. This is LA Talk Live. We are more than just talk.
Hi, Hi, this is Starlet Quarles, and I'm inviting you to join us every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. for a new show right here on LA Talk Live, The Dialogue, Real Talk, Real People. Join us as we discuss the topics that are relevant to today's generational leaders. So don't forget to tune in to The Dialogue, Real Talk, Real People, every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. right here on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio RnB, Live 365, Radio Flag, and now Stitcher Radio. Or watch and listen directly at latalklive.com. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hello world, how you living? This is D Brex, your host of the all-new rap project here on LA Talk Live. That's latalklive.com. Or you can find me on iTunes Radio in the R&B section. That's the Rap Project, every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's Wednesdays at 7 p.m. West Coast time, so don't be late. On the Rap Project, I will be playing the very best of rap and hip-hop that goes beyond the ordinary. So connect with me, your host, D-Brax, the rap connoisseur, on the Rap Project every Wednesday at 7, right here on latalklive.com, where we are more than just talk.
Hello, this is Angela DeJoseph. Join me Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. Pacific for the Angela DeJoseph Show. Join me as we venture into health, wealth. We're going to give you news, interviews, and entertainment. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio, Live 365, Radio Flag, TiVo Radio, and now live on Facebook. Or watch and listen directly at latalklive.com. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Yeah. JB. Wow. All this crazy love. You need to get it now. Hey, the wait is over. Come and get it now. I got that psycho love. I'ma turn you out. I never had a doubt that I could make you scream. I'ma show you things that you ain't never seen. Girl, you know you like it. You got that kinky side. You's a freaky mama. I see it in your eyes. I call it Stevie time. You call it Wonder Years. Automatic gonna show you how to switch gears. I could be on bottom, you on top. Messing with your mind, I can make it yell stop. See, I had this love bottled up inside. You done let that genie out cause you rubbed the lamp right. So, what you want, mommy? You want all of this? You can cross this out on your bucket list. This gon' be the one you never forget. We gon' have some fun and no regrets. All this love is waiting.
Yeah.
I can't stand waiting.
We're back at you.
That's right.
Jerry Bell.
That's a remix, remix.
Yes, that is. That is a remix of my song, All This Love. Take a listen, y'all.
Psychosomatic, automatic, got crazy love. You overstimulated, look at that crazy buzz. And I think you like it, and you look excited. And you showing me every spark, you know I had to light it. Can't hold back, think about all of that. Pent up energy, let it out on me. Let it release all your frustration. Got that crazy love, girl, I'm tired of waiting. I can be on bottom, you on top. Messing with your mind, I can make you yell stop. See, you had that love bottled up inside. You don't let that genie out cause you rub the lamp right. I realizing it's the physical thing. I really feel in your demeanor, so I hope it don't end. Got them sex tricks in the matrix, we digital out. About to press reset, baby, we gon' cash on out. All this love is waiting. Yeah, you can get it. No, I can't stand waiting. Hey, you can get it. If you're ready for it, I'm gonna give it to you, girl. Come on.
Yeah, y'all. All this love. I had to slide that one in.
I don't know about y'all, but I didn't hear the love today.
Listen to Grasshopper, man.
I'm knee-high to a grasshopper. I ain't got no musical ear.
Boy.
I'm feeling kind of dejected.
You know,
I know the Grandmaster don't mean it. It's all love.
Hey, you know, it's a lot of people out there that know you by your name now. Because they asked me, "So how's the grasshopper?
How's that little dude grasshopper doing back there? He's about knee high to a grasshopper.
Yeah, man. They said, "How the grasshopper doing?" I said, "The grasshopper's still in training, you know."
Still eating flies.
Yeah.
Staying on my healthy diet, all that good stuff.
I got you.
All right, welcome back to the show,
Yes,
ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Good to be
Another
welcome.
episode.
Hey, we talk on many different topics and stuff here. I like to expound on educating the people on many different things that's happens
Right.
that continue to go on or what have you. You know what I mean? So I don't want anybody to feel like that we are
Alienating,
Yeah.
ostracizing,
Right.
criticizing.
But we want you to know. We want you to be educated on everything. You know what I mean? It's very important, especially for our people to know, and for other people to know. You know what I mean? History is a interesting thing which they don't give a lot of in school. But you know what I mean? It's interesting to know the real deal, Holyfield. You know what I mean?
Well, in all transparency, during the break, for all of our listeners and viewers out there, I just made a comment that I wanted to keep this show, especially because of the format and the nature of the show, on a positive note. We know there's a lot of negativity going on out there. We know there's a lot of things that have happened to us historically. I take the position that, hey, if that man can beat me, then he wins. Otherwise, I'm going to fight the best fight that I got in me to make my life what I want my life to be, irrespective of those who stand in front of me, trying to prohibit me from doing it. Now, despite the fact that all that rhymed unintentionally, and I'm still on the EEEs, nonetheless, despite the fact that, I'm making light of it, the fact of the matter is, this is one of the wonderful things about internet broadcasting is that it's wide open.
Yeah.
It's free. It's non-FCC regulated, and we can say what we want. And we always, as a network, encourage everybody to speak their mind. But I just didn't want to, because we have people of all races, backgrounds, and creeds.
Oh, for sure.
And I've learned that didn't now one of them pick their color no more than I picked mine. Right. And so we're stuck in these bodies, and we got to do the best thing we can do the right thing. That's, to me, what represents righteousness. Just try to do the right doggone thing. And in the end, it can all work out, because I feel my life is better than my mother's life was, and Jerry's life was, perhaps him growing up, and many of us can attest to that.
Well,
but
as
because
a grasshopper,
of course, I've hopped all over the world. But because of, and in deference to the diversity that we have on this network and what it actually represents as a precious moment moving forward in history, what we can do as a people, irrespective of all that stuff. Now, I have my views and I have my prejudices and whatever else you want to call them. But I just thought today's show should really be about the music, positivity, and all that good stuff, because we got the incredible, wonderful Encore in the building today. Right. We got to get him mic'd up a little later in the show. We see right now he's online researching some of the hottest news that's out there. So we're going to get a live report from Encore himself. But that was all. I just wanted to kind of.
Well, also too, one of the reasons, because you've heard me enough to know that I tend to put a seed out there and then later on get back to it. One of the reasons why
I appreciate that about your contribution to the show.
Thank you. And one of the reasons I brought up Mali Doma Some in response to some of the things that Brother Bell was telling us was the fact that Mali Doma's story is, these things happened to me, but they were necessary. And that's the thing that we forget, is that the negativity that happens in your life has to happen.
I got to give that a round of applause, bro. Made me the man that I am.
The negativity that happens.
My life ain't been no crystal staircase.
Yeah, the negativity that happens in the world has to happen. Now, if you can dwell on it, and how you deal with it is how, your life will be judged. But at the end of the day, the only thing you can control is how you respond to things, good or bad. But the negativity, that stuff has to happen. It's like
it's a yin.
There's a story.
Of the yang, or the yang of the yin.
He's giving you
something to that effect. I don't know.
He's trying to do his grasshopper philosophy.
Well, there's a story that I was told from a Sufi. It was about a young man who was questioning his father about his religion. And when the father went to this old master, and he says, I don't know, I'm at a loss, I don't know how to answer. He's asking questions. Can you talk to my son? So his son comes in the presence of this old man. He's sitting there, and he says, Yeah, I heard you have questions. He said, yes, I have questions about the nature of God. And he said, all right, lay them on me. And he says, well, my first two most important questions are, if God created the universe and put everything there, and God's supposed to be benevolent and loving, why then are people allowed to go through such tremendous suffering? They pray and they ask for deliverance, it doesn't come, and they go through all this suffering and pain. These horrible things happen all the time. Right. Then he said, all right, you have another question? He said, yes. Another question is, in the Quran, because they're Muslims, he's like, in the Quran it talks about the jinn, the unseen beings. They're created from fire. He said, yes, and they have a free will like human beings. Yes. So if they're created from if they have free will, they too can experience damnation. They can go to the hellfire. He said, yes. He said, well, if they're created from fire, from a smokeless fire, how is it a punishment for them to be thrown into fire? Right. So then the man said, all right, I'll answer your question. And he reaches out and slaps the boy across the face. And the boy gets angry. He goes, "What? You hit me. He said, this is your enlightened answer? You smacked me across the face?" He said, yes. Now, are you and I made of the same material?
I knew where this was going.
He said,
are
yes.
you made of flesh?
He said, did that hurt? But then also, too, he said, now, you came to that revelation through what? Pain. And that's the reality, is that you can't have mercy, which is one of the names of God, without sin. Without the most egregious horrors happening upon the earth, you can't have the greatest graces occur. One has to have the other. And that is the reality that we live in. And so, yeah, people do that, and people do this, and people do that. But it's also, too, I mean, when I look at slavery and the things that we've endured in this country, I don't look back and lament over it. Like, I am in awe of that generation. I'm in awe of those people that were able to endure all of that and still do something as simple as sing a song and find a way through.
Or crawl or stagger or walk their way
and that legacy
out of slavery.
When I look back at what happened, what was done, I look at my ancestors and I go, wow, I'm alive. Because they didn't say, well, I'm going to walk into the ocean. Or,
I'm just going to give up.
I'm just going to give up.
Because the pressure's too heavy. I can't survive. Listen, I don't know about y'all. My mother and father, and I'm not that old, okay? My mom and dad,
you are.
One generation back. It's basically Jerry's age, my mom and dad, right? We're raised in the Jim Crow South.
That's a good one. I like that.
We're raised in the Jim Crow South. So by the time my mother and I got acquainted, and me being old enough, like young Encore here, to understand, that she's a separate human being. She's just not my mama and all that stuff. And she started telling me about her experiences growing up and second naturedly getting on the back of a bus.
Yeah.
How my father, again, by Jerry's age, walking through the South on his own. I'm joking, of course, my father's significantly older, probably his father's age. Walking on his own through the South, knowing that at any given time he could be snatched, lynched, and castrated.
Yeah.
And then set afire. As if, those two other things weren't bad enough, right? And neither one of them held any animus.
That's what I'm saying.
Now, although I was raised very segregatedly in the inner cities of Philadelphia, it wasn't because they had hatred for these other folks.
Yeah.
It was because they had reconciled in their mind, as the Quran says, Lakum dinukum waliyadin. To you be your way, to me be mine. And so I was raised very segregated. I didn't have any other races in my neighborhood or in my house, and my mom and dad didn't know them or hobnob or have them over for dinner and stuff. But they never imbued in me or imparted to me any animus.
Yeah.
Just be cautious. Times have changed.
Yeah, I mean, I was taught very much.
I didn't know Mexican people until I came out here. And my business partner is Mexican.
And that's what I tell everybody.
I never met a Mexican in my life that I knew of.
No, I was fortunate in the
and if
Bay
I did,
Area
I thought he was Puerto Rican.
to grow up around a lot of different cultures.
Right.
But at the same time, we were always very well informed of, like, you know, the potentials and the dangers. And then when we moved to Sacramento, we were confronted with tremendous racism right from the beginning.
That's fascinating to think in California.
Oh yeah,
there is tremendous racism.
Oh yeah, you can even now. You can.
I'm not naive anymore.
You can literally go like an hour outside of Los Angeles County, and you can find that. You can be in Los Angeles County, you'll find that level of racism. But the thing,
you could drive down to Beverly Hills back in the '90s.
I remember
DWB.
Yeah, and I remember by the time I was 19, though, I didn't have animosity and resentment. It was just, you know, a lot of that had to do with the way I was raised. I mean, my mother would talk to me about, you know, all the things that you're going to go through. You know, like, you're going to go through this, and your brother's going to have it worse because he's darker, and so on and so forth. And she would say that she'd give you the typical speech, you know, you got to be 2, 3, 4 times more capable than your white counterpart, blah, blah, blah. But then my mother would say, be that extraordinary.
Anyway,
they were like, because they said, and she said, because your life is going to be so fulfilling,
and you know,
by not being mediocre. So that's how I approach it. I just focused on myself.
And look at the grandmaster.
You know, I was asked a question.
Look at the grandmaster. So accomplished.
Thank you.
But no joke.
Yeah, thank you.
All bullshit aside.
Right.
Jerry Bell.
Yeah.
Look at this guy. Right. How much has any of that held him back?
Oh, I was forced to, because my thing was
we all were
to do.
And see, that's
I'm going
the thing.
to outdo you.
Yeah, well, we all were.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. And we do not have to be any better. But being on that path of just being the best you can be, it's just good common sense. The Bible, all scriptures speak to that. That's part of your servitude to the Creator.
Now, you know,
for the gift that He gave you in life.
I was asked a question by a man. And
how old are you? No.
And this question was
his name Methuselah?
Oh, he gonna take sides.
Now I got teamwork, dreamwork. We taking you down, downtown today.
Because if he was asking you questions, he was like, he asked you. He said, "Mr. Bell,
but hold on.
When was dirt created?" He's like, "Well, we didn't always have it. You know, you used to go outside to be rocks everywhere
and sand. It was sand before there was dirt, you know."
Now, Tosh, you hear him?
Yes.
You hear him, right?
All right. Anyway, you were asked the question.
You know that it's gonna hurt now. No, I was asked a question by a man the other day on why the grasshopper has one leg.
What about that?
And I told him,
joke of grasshopper.
I told him it was because he was getting beat up like this. You got me on the music, brother?
Oh, you got some music? Oh, okay.
Man, see, he trying to shortchange me.
Oh, now you bring up some music.
Yeah.
I felt the Caesar connection here.
Yeah.
Are we going to give this a listen?
Yes, we are.
Need a little musical prelude or interlude or something?
Right.
All right, here we go to the music. Tell them what it is, Grandmaster.
This is my brother Archie Bell and the Drills. Tighten up, y'all. We're doing the Tighten Up, y'all. I know some of y'all remember that. Of course, Rich does, because he was tightened.
Now, was that a dance along with that?
Yeah, it was a dance.
How did it go?
You gotta ask Rich about how to tighten up.
Well, the tighten up was a real loose little dance. So you weren't tight at all. No, nah. Tightening up was something.
The tighten
totally
up is, Archie would tell you
opposite,
that he would tell you put your right hand on your hip, and you take your left hand out and you tighten up. That kind of thing. Yeah.
Stand up and do that for us, Grandmaster.
No, you stand up and do it.
I'd have loved to have seen him do that.
No, you wouldn't.
I know you still dance on stage anyway.
Oh yeah, if he was gonna do that, a dove was gonna fly out of his pocket.
Look at it, man.
I'm your magic man. Won't you take my magic hand?
I'm sorry. I was driving on the freeway the other day, and I just thought about that story. I was like, oh my God, what I would have paid to have seen that.
Actually, you can see it.
You still can see it.
Yeah, if you go on YouTube and you pull up, what is it, Don Kirshinger's rock concert, the Midnight Special, you'll see it.
Write that down.
Now,
you actually kicked a bird into the audience. I love it.
Hey,
you would do some shit like that too. You'd be like, "Oh, the bird died. Oh well, boom,
dead bird."
I know. It's like, come here, girl.
Get out of here.
He's like,
the bird was in your way.
Huh? So he's like, Al Green ain't got nothing on you. He's like, I ain't giving out roses. I'm giving out doves at the concert, girl.
That bird, gonna put it on you.
Now you know what? See, now y'all want to make me have to be a bad guy.
Is it a voodoo show?
I've got to ask a question. We got a little off track, and Grandmaster, you kind of misled me there, or steered me in the wrong direction into the dark. Because a wise man once asked me, and then he played Tighten Up. I don't know what that's about, but we're gonna keep it moving. I want to ask you about the Don Kirshner Rock Concert Series.
Yes, sir.
For those of you out there who might remember this. Tosh, you're such a young tender thing, you sweet little young thing. You know nothing about none of this old people stuff we be
she
talking.
Might remember Wolfman Jack.
Yeah, I remember Wolfman Jack.
So yeah,
Disco Duck, didn't he make that song?
No.
Okay,
yeah.
No, he was the radio personality.
But Don Kirshner's late night rock concerts, the best. Bands, the best groups. Up late as a kid. I'm like early teens, and they just got these great groups on. Tell us a little. I mean, how well do you know about that whole concert series and Don Kirshner himself? And who in the devil was he?
We were on the Don Kirshinger's. We were on the Don Kirshinger's rock concert, New Birth, back in the 70s, and we also did the Midnight Special. Was basically the same. Wolfman Jack
left the Midnight Special, shine us ever loving light on you.
Yeah,
I love that.
And which they should have more shows like that now. Everybody they had I think Don Kirshinger and Midnight Special had comedy nights, so they had to introduce Richard Pryor, Jimmy Walker,
you'd see it all,
Bill Cosby, then a lot of the acts like Donna Summers. I think when we were on, it was New Birth, Player, Black Sabbath, and Casey and the Sunshine Band.
And they were diverse.
Yeah.
But the one thing about both late Midnight Special and Don Kirshner's rock concert is it was a spotlight for not just white but black talent.
Yeah.
It was in the 70s one of the first places on TV you could see incredible black talent, African American talent, whatever race you want to call us. I don't know. Don't want to get too political on that. We'll go on a tangent there.
Y'all remember Solid Gold?
Solid Gold, of course.
Yeah, we did Solid Gold. Yeah, I did Solid Gold with the Daz band.
Oh yeah.
So we were on Solid Gold, and
well, these were great platforms for black music.
I remember that.
What was those other shows? When it came out, Solid Gold, and it was another show.
Not the one with Ed McMahon, right? That was a amateur show. You guys
not Ed McMahon. But
Apollo. Did you guys ever play the Apollo?
Yeah, brother.
Wow.
You tore the Apollo up, man. If you ain't played the Apollo, Jack, you ain't played nowhere.
Yeah. Wow.
The Apollo Theater. Wow. The Apollo Theater was one of the hardest, which today it still is. It's one of the hardest places to perform. If you can get through the Apollo, you can play anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Because at the Apollo, let me tell you what they used to do back in the in the 70s. The Apollo Theater, they would sit and they would have eggs, and they sit in the audience. and they wait. You know what I mean? You start out and it ain't right.
Well, they would actually hit you with an egg.
Oh yeah, man. They throw eggs at you, dude. They throw eggs.
no.
They egg you off the stage, man. Oh, the Apollo Theater was cold. It's cold, man.
Tell us about the Uptown in Philadelphia.
Oh, the Uptown, dude.
Legendary Uptown.
Yeah, man. You know, when we did the Uptown Theater, you could go and see 10 acts on the show for like $5.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Good old days of the review.
Yeah.
You know, the Motown review,
Reviews, yeah.
the Uptown review.
You see Marvin Gaye, Temptation, Stevie Wonder, Little Anthony and Imperials, the Delphonics. You'd see Gladys Knight and the Pips. You know what I mean? All on one show. You know,
Patti LaBelle
and the
Bluebells.
Yeah, and the Bluebells. I mean, it was like crazy. Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. You know what I mean? The Uptown. We don't have those kind of theaters anymore. Even like in D.C., they had a theater called the High Chaparral. And man, we used to tear that up. They couldn't wait for New Birth and P-Funk to get there. Yeah, that was it. That was another spot that was hot, you know. Those little joints like that, you know. And I think the Apollo Theater sees about maybe 3,000 people. The Uptown Theater was about 2005. And you know, normally we'd have to end up doing 2 or 3 shows. And then, you know, they don't do shows like we used to do them back in the day. We do a matinee show, so we do a show for the kids.
Oh, cool.
You know what I mean? Then we do the evening show. You know what I mean? And it's funny because when we did our shows, you could bring your children. You would see them bringing their children to the show. Last time I was on a show like that was at the Forum.
No, keep going. Don't stop now.
At the Forum. And
I'm going to take a quick break.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
At the Forum. And it was the Jacksons show. And that's when they were all together. And you would see people having their kids right in the front when they did, can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it? You know what I mean? And everybody came to that show. We're taking a break?
Yeah, let's take a break. After the break, I want to come back and talk about the sad state of music.
About what?
The sad state of music these days.
Yeah.
You know, we talked on previous episodes about how it's hard to find some of the great talent that we enjoyed in our days growing up. You mentioned today.
When did you grow up?
A little bit after you.
I don't think
we
so.
talked today about how it's difficult to find the venues that spotlight the talent.
Right.
I mean, the Motown, not Motown, but Uptown Theater for Philadelphia was not just a place to go see great known talent. It was a great place to go see new acts and new talent as well. And we don't have any of those venues left anymore. You know, is it because people don't come out of the house anymore?
No.
Could that happen again in this new era of music?
It can actually happen again.
Let's talk about that after the break.
Okay, we'll talk about it after the break? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a pause for the cause, and we'll be back. You're here listening to Jerry Bell's RnB Soul Classics, along with the Grasshopper, hopping along. And we have our distinguished guest, Encore, here today. He's video gaming it.
Actually, he's doing some research for some news for us. He's on a news assignment.
He's been recording us the entire time, so I think he's actually got his own little motives in play.
So y'all be sure to stay tuned because the throwdown is about to go down right after the break. R&B Soul Classics. Don't go away.
We'll be back, y'all. This is Archie Bell and the Drells.
Hi, this is Jean Noel Bassior, inviting you to join me for my new show, The Book Beat, Monday evenings at 6:30 p.m. I'll be talking to authors about their latest book so you can find a fantastic read. But more than that, I'll be talking to experts about how you can write your own book and get it published. So tune in on Mondays at 6:30 p.m. exclusively on latalklive.com. And remember, you can catch us on iTunes Radio RnB or watch us on Ustream TV. Reality radio, handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hey everybody, it's Miss RnB, and I'm inviting you to come and hang with me every Thursday night at 9 p.m. PST for Perspectives Corner with Rona Rowe Bennett on America Talk Live. Hear and see interviews and live performances from some of our favorite celebrities and personalities in entertainment, sports, business, and the wellness industries. We're getting lifted and we're going deep, talking about life and empowering the champion in us all. See you there.
Giftjoy Entertainment presents Secret Society Sunday, a signature event for downtown Los Angeles, an artist lounge with an atmosphere where creativity can be planted, nourished, and thrive.
Sunday, June 2nd, hosted by your girls Forbidden Gems, starring Mickey Monday and featuring performance by Sky, BC Block, Adam Rose, Miss Shay My Love, and Duke Gutta. This is a show you don't want to miss.
RSVP for the guest list for discounted $15 admission or $20 general admission at the door. Early arrival is highly suggested. For bottle and table service, contact events at giftjoyentertainment.com or call 424-254-9327. Come out.
Turn up with your girls, Forbidden Gems.
That's right, camel walk. You're back with Jerry Bell's R&B Soul Classics. And we camel walking all over you, brother.
Right. He came back strong, because I said, as a disclosure, as a disclaimer, y'all, when we went to break, we were off camera. I was like, Grasshopper's getting the upper hand, brother. I'm strong. And he came back.
Look, I told you I let Grasshopper shoot his wad. You know what I mean? All broke legs. I got to give him an opportunity to get his composure back together.
And this song is perfect for what we were talking about, right? because I was recently out with oh man, I was out with some friends, and all these acquaintances, they were all Latin, right? And we're at this spot, and they were playing mostly Latin music, and then all of a sudden Michael Jackson's song came on, and it was Don't Stop Till You Get Enough. I lost my mind. I was a dancing fool up there, right? I was doing moves these people ain't never seen before, right? And before that, they were playing all Latin music. So I was doing the cumbia with them and all that stuff, and they were like impressed. Oh, he knows all. And then all of a sudden, Michael came on, and I let loose on that stuff. I was showing them stuff they ain't never seen before. And they were like,
get a little robot in on them.
I said, hey, I'm sorry, y'all, but
you were showing them stuff the grasshopper ain't never seen before.
I said, I'm sorry, but like the era of going to a place, call it club, lounge, whatever you want to call it, and dance till you sweat.
Yeah.
That is like, I was a kid when that was dying, right? And nowadays, you just don't see it. All this, you just keep it in the background. That's cool. I like that. So, but I'm saying like
that's lick and stick. You know what I mean?
Oh, I know.
Spanking.
And I remember being a kid and dancing at a family gathering for the first time, and my grandmother teasing me, saying, "You can't dance, boy. Get the hell off the dance floor. What you think? What is that? What's that you doing? You ain't got no booty either. Just get up out of here." And I went home and I was like, "That ain't never gonna happen to me again." So I was listening to James Brown. MC Hammer was hot at the time, right? Like I was picking up all the moves I could. When I came to that next party, I was dancing fool. And then she's like, "Oh, look at you!" And so then after that, every time I went to the family gatherings, my grandmother would get out there and do that dance you do. And that, I mean, that's. And I was telling them, I was like, "Listen, you guys." You go to a club nowadays and people just do a two-step and a back and forth and bob their heads. I was like, you could not walk your ass out on the floor unless you had some
cut
move.
Unless you cut the rug.
You really had to have your stuff down. You know, some people could play music, some people could sing, and some people could dance. And if you could do all three, you was bad. And I remember I went out and I said, and that there's certain artists that when I hear James Brown, I gotta move.
You remember Rich?
Yeah, you have to.
Rich used to pull his pants way up here.
He was doing the Urkel, is what you said.
Right.
But this is what I'm saying. Now, you look at today, right? I'll go out to a spot, and even if it's not something that's like, you know, just U.S. black folks, right? Like it was Brazil or something, right? And they'll be playing samba, and I know how to do samba.
Right.
Or they'll do salsa, and I know how to do salsa. And the dudes will be looking good. They have their clothes looking dapper, their faces done up, their hair's done, the muscles are nice and percolating, but they can't dance.
Yeah.
And so they stand on the wall, and I've been in places where their woman came up off their arm and came out on that dance floor to dance with me, and he's got to sit there looking all saucy, and it's like, well, your woman came up to me because you can't dance. That's your problem. I didn't ask her to dance. She left your arm and came out on the floor. You got some, you know, when I got insulted because I didn't have dance skills, I didn't get mad. I got smart.
Yeah, sometimes
got my skills.
For me, I need that tribal experience, and I have to. Sometimes I like to be in my zone, and I get on the dance floor, and I need to be by myself because I just have to be. I have to feel it, and I'm just in my own space. So when I go dancing, I go to like a house party, and we listen to disco music. Teddy,
you just saying that because dudes can't dance today. You just being nice. That's all there is to it.
I don't care. But you know what? I dance by myself. If
hold
I
on,
have to.
hold on. She said the wrong thing.
What'd she say?
Disco music, Teddy Pendergrass. Teddy's not disco.
Well,
that's soul music, baby.
Okay, soul music, but you know they kind of put it in the disco category.
Disco is Donna
like
Summers.
Yeah, but they kind of pushed him and Harold Melvin into the
they don't
disco
know no
category. You know what I mean? Especially when they put that underground track to it.
Because they don't know no better. They don't know no better. They're pitiful people.
But this is what I am saying, right? The standards have fallen so low. Like I guarantee you, if I go to a dance spot where, you know, there's a DJ who knows who spins for dancers, there's gonna be about me and 3 other dudes that can dance. And this is in Los Angeles. Some other places is a little different, but in Los Angeles, like it's gonna be me and 3 other dudes. And I'm gonna know those dudes because they're the same dudes that are dancing at every spot. So, and everybody else in there's gonna be looking good, but can't dance worth a damn. And the women will get. There have been times where I left the spot. I had to excuse myself.
You had to run
because I was covered in sweat, and I was cramping up I was like, I got cramps. I got to stop.
Yeah.
He ain't telling you the truth. They was after him with guns.
Oh, no. Trust.
You got my woman ready.
Ain't been one man yet that didn't step to me, because at the same time I come with that energy, but they're like, I can't really take that brother on. It's like, no, because you're not gonna walk out of here the same way you walked in. But I will say this.
Do you break dance also?
I mean, that's not really. I mean, that depends on what you mean by breakdancing. Do you
like,
mean tricking and
block and
yeah, I can do that. Yeah.
Don't ask Rich.
So like, but what I am saying is this: it's like, you look at, for example, the artists today that are out there, right? One of the problems with when he's talking about the generation and the standards of this generation, how low they've fallen. This generation is living in the shadow of about 2 or 3 epic generations.
Yeah.
I mean, you go back 1 generation, 2 generations. You got generations filled with individuals like Stevie Wonder, Michael Jackson, who were around. Like Stevie Wonder was 12. So he was around for literally 2 generations and just kicking for both of those generations. And the generations were filled with these titans of music, right?
Right.
This generation, everyone that we consider anyone, all they talk about is how they want to be like so and so and so and so. Michael Jackson loved James Brown, but he wasn't trying to be like James Brown.
Right.
He was being himself, right? This generation is filled with these people who, in terms of what they're going to be themselves, like you take someone like Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars is just a collection of people he wishes he could be. The same thing with, any of these pop stars. And part of that, too, has to do with the fact that artists today are pretty much crafted by producers. And they're not really individuals whose talent is so stellar. Barry Gordy was floored when he met Stevie Wonder. That's why he named him Wonder. He's like, this boy's a wonder.
Right.
And they're not really doing that now. They're not looking and going, oh my God, this person's amazing, and we got to put this person better, and this person has all these talents that we can develop and work. It's all about, okay, I as a producer have a vision that I want to produce,
right,
and I'm going to just grab somebody who looks good and sounds all right, throw them some clothes on them, get them out on stage, and then when I'm done with them, I discard them and get another one, right? But I'm king. And that's really what's dominating the industry now, is you have this mindset of me and this single individual. And that's why you have these producers.
So the producers are like puppeting the
totally.
singers.
Producers are king. I mean, that's why it's
what they call producers.
Yeah, and it's like producer ego, nothing. And the producer ego is run wild. I mean, you look at Kanye West and people go, how come he keeps having these outrageous tantrums and blow-ups? Because his ego is completely out of control.
And then all of their stuff sound the same. Everything is the same beat. Yeah. Nobody plays an instrument anymore.
Yeah, and that's the difference. Like, you look at the producers of the previous generation, they had actual musical knowledge. So you take, for example, even that one producer who's under fire right now for all the strange stuff that he's been involved in, Phil Spector. He had some very serious musical knowledge and did some innovation, some innovative stuff. Can look at the major producers who are, at the top right now. Not a single one of them could even read music.
They still can't read.
And let alone have a conversation with you about structure of music, history of music. I mean, and some of these people, like, they've lost all knowledge of what came before them. I mean, I made a reference to someone who's still alive and doing stuff right now. And some guys who were producers looked at me and went, who's he? And I said, well, 3 of those songs that you were referencing to, he was a part of that. And it's amazing to me. It's like, and he said, oh, well, from what, 30 years ago? I'm like, where do you think? Like, you think you just gonna make something up out of no place? Like, you're basing all of this stuff off of things that happened 200-300 years ago.
Wow.
And if you go back 200-300 years, that stuff was based off of something that was 2,000-3,000
But you know what
ago.
I do with them? I said, give me your computer and put it over here. Write some notes, musical notes for me. What are you talking about? No, write some musical notes. You're a producer.
Yeah.
You say you can produce, so produce the music. That's what you're supposed to do.
So you have a reality show in the works.
Yeah, yeah.
Can you talk about that now or
A little
no?
bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
So I watched the
trailer.
Yeah, I
The
watched
sizzle
the
reel?
trailer and I thought it was so amazing.
Yeah.
It's called The Next Hitmaker.
Yeah.
And I mean, I like the way that you critiqued the people and you was listening, but I paid attention to you and nobody was organic. They all had their laptops and was trying to find this beat on the
Right,
sound and
right.
creating their own beats, but you was looking for that organic feel. You know what I'm saying? And it was funny because you just wasn't satisfied. So I think that's going to be a really good reality
Oh,
show
yeah.
because it challenges people to go a little deeper in what they're looking for as far as music.
And what about the woman? No Bob Head?
Oh yeah, but I like her character.
I know.
I like
Yeah,
her.
she's
She's
good.
funny.
She's
I
good.
like her.
Yeah.
I was like, is she for real? But is that her personality?
Yeah,
like,
that's her personality.
Well, I'm like, she's weird, but I really like her.
Yeah.
So tell us more about the show, really.
Yes.
Well, the show is based on who's going to be the next hit maker. And it's one of those things of they got all these different people coming on, these different acts that claiming that they are producers and producing music, and I'm one of them guys that I'm like, what's that reality show they have? on TV?
The American
American Idol.
Yeah,
I'm the real
Simon.
Yeah, I'm Simon. Yeah. I'm the black Simon. You know what I mean?
That's what
I'm
I was thinking
that's
too.
bullshit.
Right,
Yeah,
and
get that
that's really you. So I mean, for those that don't know you, I mean that's your personality. You don't let nothing fry. You're a perfectionist when
Yes,
it comes to
indeed.
things.
Yeah, and so then of course I was actually brought to the show by Miss Shelley White.
Oh yeah, and she was amazing. I love her.
Yeah,
Truly love her.
Verdine
I was like, that's my
White's
girl
wife.
right there.
Yeah, Shelley actually introduced me to the people that are
Mhm.
putting the show on. So right now I think they're going to different networks and trying to see who's going to pick the show up.
Man,
and,
that's amazing.
yeah.
Good luck with that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's gonna be
definitely.
the bomb.
Yeah. I mean, because that definitely needs to be. That's something we need to illustrate more. Is that music is losing
its content.
Yeah,
And
it's
its
losing
its
its
structure.
I just listened to an interview with Daft Punk on NPR where Daft Punk was talking about, well, we're dealing with this whole idea now of the merger of the electronic with the sort of organic, And I'm listening to the music on their new album, and they've done some stuff with Pharrell and stuff, and I'm like, okay, so I'm listening and I'm still waiting to hear the organic, right? Like I'm hearing more of the same thing, right?
Right.
They're really returning to a certain time period, which is like the early aughts, 2000 and on, when Pharrell was big and making a name for himself. And my issue with all of this stuff is that at the end of the day, most of this music is completely forgettable. Right? In the moment, it might be impactful, it might be sensational, but I was at work earlier, and I just happened to say, "Oh, let me play that Off the Wall, that Michael Jackson album." Every song on that album
Is a hit song.
It's a hit.
Yes.
And every song evoked emotions
Yes.
and memories from that time in my life. And I was smiling ear to ear from the beginning of the album to the end of the album. I can't say that about anybody today.
Oh yeah.
I mean, there was one person who was they accused me of hating on Beyonce. I was like, I don't care about Beyonce's music one way or the other.
It's not music.
And somebody was like, oh, so you don't think any of her music's any good? I said, I didn't say it's not any good. This is what I am saying, is that I'm ambivalent about it. So let's put it this way. And I asked him, I said, this is an easy exercise. Name a song that is impactful, that when you hear that song, it reminds you of something from your life, a sentiment, an emotion comes forward.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
And they just looked at me. Well, yeah. I said, that's not that. I don't consider that music. That's busy work. It's entertainment. That's distraction. But
She's
music,
a performer. Yeah.
music, true music, and this is the contribution that African Americans, is our legacy, the gift that we have given to the Western world, is true music.
I mean,
because prior to us, music existed in a space of art for art's sake.
Right.
It was patronage from the wealthy to a special class of people who entertained the wealthy. And the commons didn't hear music.
Right.
Commons had their own music. That's European. That's how the Africans brought to this soil a music that spoke to the common person, and it spoke to the wealthy and the common alike because it spoke to the soul. No matter what you've accumulated in life, no matter what you've accomplished, everyone has the same soul. And it spoke directly to the soul. And in it was healing, magic, divine, the praise of the divine, all of this stuff. And this was new to Western music. They didn't understand how to do these things. These things are things that we've always done. There is no music prior to the colonial era that took place in Africa that was not sacred, that did not serve some important function in people's daily lives. And that's what we introduced the Western world to, that no, art isn't done for art's sake. When the Western world would go into Africa, they would try to figure out why Africans didn't have art and paintings and stuff like that. But what they did find was that when you went into someone's home, the forks they ate with, the bowls they ate out of, the clothing they wore, the decorations of the way they built their home, all of it was intricately designed and full of art and color.
It was art itself.
And because it was like art for them was something you lived, therefore there's no word for it.
Right.
Wow.
It just is. It's how I live.
The other thing too is, like when you hear certain songs, I tell people the only time you know when you really got a hit record is when you hear it in the elevator.
Wow.
Because then the elevator music lets you know that your music is that now the corporate structures are putting it in because it's something that they know people is going to soothe people in the when they're in the elevator on their way going to whatever floor it is that they're going to. So it's one of those things. The other is when you are when you're dealing with like when you hear Al Green, somebody so in love with you, whatever you want to do, you know what I mean? Those kind of songs is like, oh yeah, man, you remember that? You remember, man, I remember when I was at so and so.
And they were so simple, but they said so much. It's like, you can sit here and looking at a book and say, this book is green, and like really feel it and understand it, and the pages, and they just made something out of it according to the way they felt. It's just something so special. Like now today, they just try to force things like, oh, champagne, and we're going to drink, and we're going to party and go to the club. The same old repetitive stuff all the time. They like forcing it. They took simplicity out of life, and it took it out of the music.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I think we kind of need that and miss that. Like,
well, my father said to me something was very true. He said, you're going to find that hits, what really resonates with people, actually is quite simple. Like you take Prince, A Glamorous Life. It's very simple. It's dun 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 dun. That's it.
Sheila E.
That's Sheila E. with Prince.
Right.
That's when they were working together. Now, if you take any of the stuff that they were doing together, all that stuff's very simple, but it's some of the greatest music Prince has ever done. And the reason why, it's not the fact that it's not and see, this is the problem, is that we took focus in the Western world on the material and on the technical. There's a man, he died not long ago. His name was Ali Farka Touré. And he had stopped touring and doing music, and he was really focused on the internal politics and whatnot and structuring of Mali. And because he came from a noble lineage, he wasn't supposed to be doing music in the first place. But he was a legendary guitarist. And when they finally convinced him to do another album, he said, all right, fine. And when he hit this bass note that opened up the album, that bass note resonated. And everyone that I have ever played that song for, they all go, Now that note was in the key of E. And there was no difference from him striking that bass note than somebody else hitting that bass note. But the difference is that he put his self in it. He uses that wave that to carry a piece of himself to you. There's something on it. It's not empty music.
Right.
He's not just striking E,
Right.
E7 or whatever. He's putting himself in it. He's putting his soul in it. And so you hear it, you feel it, it resonates with you. Miles Davis stuff is actually not that complex in terms of trumpeting. He simplified trumpeting. What somebody would take 12 notes to do, he'd do in 3. But he'd carry that note in such a way and transition from that note to the second one to the third one in such a way to where you felt each and every one of those notes. And that's what's missing, is that irrational component, that thing you can't write down on paper. The thing
This
you
is
can't
what's
teach.
missing.
Is that the song right here, filled with sentiment. This was written from feeling, and the way it's sung, there's a feeling in it, there's a soul behind it. And that can't be taught, that can't be quantified. It's what it is.
Right. And this type of song, like, it means something. Ain't no stopping us now.
Well,
that's empowering.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
and then, see, again, it goes back to writers. McFadden and Whitehead, John Jean, and Victor Christoffen were writers. They sat and they wrote serious lyrics. They thought about what they were writing, and they were musicians. They played the keyboards, you know what I mean? They played the guitar, so they were able to structure the music that they needed to structure it. I mean, and a lot of the hit records that they wrote, was they wrote For the Love of Money for the OJs. They wrote Backstabbers. They wrote Bad Luck for Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes. You know what I mean? They were on the Ship Ahoy album. They did the Heartbreak Hotel for the Jacksons' Destiny album. You know what I mean? And they produced half of that album too. So I mean they had tons of other hit records, that they've written for different people, from Gladys Knight on, Otis Redding, you name it. But you're talking about musicianship, what you're hearing in the background too, music-wise. Everything is live instrumentation. Live, you hear strings. That's real string players. That's the TSOP. That's Philadelphia, MFSB, Mother, Father, Sister, Brother Orchestra. You know what I mean? So you're hearing actual guitarists that are playing the notes, the keyboard players that are playing Leon Huff that's playing the keys on that. Kenny Gamble and them wasn't no joke.
Yeah.
When you talk about other people who produced and wrote songs and records like Isaac Hayes. You know what I mean? Isaac Hayes was a extraordinary orchestrator of orchestra using the Memphis Orchestra, and he was a keyboard player and a sax player. But he played basically every instrument, but his main instrument was sax and keyboards. And the stuff that came out of Stax, the stuff that came out the Motown, Holland Dozier Holland, cats like this that were writing major hits. Marvin Gaye. Marvin played damn near everything and did all his own background vocals besides some of the stuff I was allowed to.
But I also I really want to give emphasis too, is not simply just the technical prowess and the musicianship, because there's people out there who have that but can't reach the heart. And there's that element to this music that no amount of practice on an instrument, no amount of technical knowledge can teach you, and that is how to speak to the soul. And all of this stuff was written from the lived experience. So when he's on the bus and what he's seeing on the outside of that bus on the way, and that's what he writes into People Make the World Go Round. It's the fact that it's the lived experience of the common person. Each one of us who hears that song, that could be us on that bus. That's what we're seeing every day. And the sentiment carried by the artist when she's singing those words, we're feeling all of that. The way the music is played, there's a feeling, a sentiment behind it. And so the moment we hear the song, it invokes that sentiment. There isn't any sentiment behind much of the music today. And we're entering in a phase of soullessness where everything.
I was getting ready to say that.
Everything's focused purely on a very technical approach to creating music. Structured like this. This is my beat. This is da da da. This is my change. Done.
Wow.
Next. And there's no real, also too, because of the absence of introspection.
Mm-hmm.
Now, all of that music from that era was written from reflection, dealing with your stuff. Nowadays, it's escape from your life rather than looking at it and saying, well, this is what it is.
Right, right, okay.
This is what it is.
Right.
And I'm gonna be all right. Instead, it's, okay, let's distract myself. I mean, there's songs nowadays that literally say that. Like, I'm going to ignore this and I'm going to act a fool. I heard a song the other day where the lyrics were literally that. I'm going to act a fool tonight. I'm going to forget about everything.
Well, look, yo, we got to take a break.
Yeah.
But we'll be back after station identification. What you heard in the background was McFadden and Whitehead, Ain't No Stopping Us Now. What you're hearing right now is the Gap Band. The Gap Band.
Yeah.
I see Grasshopper has slid his way back in on his one wing and one leg, and he's trying to come up with something to help him, but it's
I
too
keeps
late.
the people grooving. That's all I got to say.
Oh, you
That's
keep us
right.
grooving. Check you out. So, yeah, we'll be back in a moment, y'all. Stay tuned. You're listening to Jerry Bell's R&B Soul Classics here on LA Talk Live with the Grasshopper. Hoppin'.
Into LA Talk Live, reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we're more than just talk. Stay tuned.
Hi, this is Starlet Quarles, and I'm inviting you to join us every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. for a new show right here on LA Talk Live, The Dialogue, Real Talk, Real People. Join us as we discuss the topics that are relevant to today's generational leaders. So don't forget to tune in to The Dialogue, Real Talk, Real People, every Wednesday from 5 to 6 p.m. right here on latalklive.com. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio RnB, Live 365, Radio Flag, and now Stitcher Radio. Or watch and listen directly at latalklive.com. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Hello world, how you living? This is D Brex, your host of the all-new rap project here on LA Talk Live. That's latalklive.com. Or you can find me on iTunes Radio in the R&B section. That's the Rap Project, every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's Wednesdays at 7 p.m. West Coast time, so don't be late. On the Rap Project, I will be playing the very best of rap and hip-hop that goes beyond the ordinary. So connect with me, your host, D-Brax, the rap connoisseur, on the Rap Project every Wednesday at 7, right here on latalklive.com, where we are more than just talk.
Hello, this is Angela DeJoseph. Join me Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. Pacific for the Angela DeJoseph Show. Join me as we venture into health, wealth. We're going to give you news, interviews, and entertainment. You can also catch us on iTunes Radio, Live 365, Radio Flag, TiVo Radio, and now live on Facebook. Or watch and listen directly at latalklive.com. Reality radio handcrafted for your listening pleasure. This is LA Talk Live, and we are more than just talk.
Get it on,
ribs. Hey, everybody, we're back. This is Jerry Bell's R&B Soul Classics. We're here with our special guest, Encore.
There we go.
My son. Yeah.
I got a complaint to put out there.
Go ahead, brother.
Before the elders, I got to put a complaint out there. I don't hear nearly enough P-Funk.
Oh, check him out.
On this
look, now he's
here show.
Oh, look, good.
I don't hear nearly enough
leave it
P-Funk.
on right now. I gotta say, in the early days of our struggles, I did the funk fu style of martial arts, and did my funk thing, but I'm a funkologist. I love funk, man, and so you're right. We are remiss in our representation of funk on this show.
Oh man,
because it's not just soul R&B. You almost can't say it anymore without soul R&B and funk.
Well, because
it all
funk. I mean, especially that early stuff. Like I ain't talking about the flashlight era, like '78. I'm talking about '68.
Yeah,
when they were really experimental.
You talking about this?
Let's see what he got.
Let's see what he got there.
You talking about this right here? Hey, man.
Help him out there, Encore. How about the old fella?
He probably knows how to use it better than
yeah, that's what he's talking about, right?
Yeah. When did that come out?
When did that come out, Rich? It's your age now.
No, I'm gonna say 74.
74.
No, actually 73.
Yeah.
73.
Yeah, because
I'm talking even a little earlier than that.
No,
when you're talking about like.
It sounds like he's talking more about funkadelic,
funkadelic,
as opposed, and maybe even some Parliament.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
But you talk. Well, see, they came out around the same time with New Birth.
Yeah.
All of us were in the same era.
Yeah, because I mean, I've listened to a lot of like. Let me tell you, my father has all of their albums, and we would hear that music all the time. And he would just, it was almost like meditation, sit there just thinking on like what they doing, because especially the early stuff, I mean, they were taking everything that was in R&B and flipping it on its head. And these was a collection of some of the best musicians from those bands.
Well,
because I mean, he pretty much raided all of James Brown.
That's what I was going to say. You're looking at most of the cats that came out of there with James Brown's players.
Yeah.
Even out of the with Bootsy, Bootsy Collins. All the JBs.
Oh yeah.
Mostly ended up in the Funkadelics, P-Funk All Stars.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
He himself was a famous flame.
Famous Flames.
Yeah.
Yeah, all them cats. They all came out of the James Brown band. The famous Bobby Bird.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean, and even the things they were talking about. I mean, at that time, was that Billy got a little bit of I mean, you're like, ooh, a little she and he.
Yeah.
He's like, it's the angle of the tango. How? Oh yeah. That's what I'm saying.
It just makes you throw your head back.
That's right. Make you walk different.
Get a strut going on with that.
And in this song, you hear the church, you hear old blues.
And of course, why don't you tell them who this is for the uninitiated?
No, go, by all means, you play the song.
Okay. This is the Parliament.
Of course, this is the Parliament.
There we go.
That's
this
right.
is a little something I used to love as a kid, probably Encore's age, thereabouts, called I Want to Testify by the Parliament.
And I Want to Testify.
You
You
hear
see?
me?
And that's what I loved. It's like,
That's funky.
he returned. He did what blues did. Blues looked at all this, sanctified and everything's got to be church and going, hey, yeah. but we're gonna thumb our nose at the church and we're gonna play that juke joint music. Matter of fact, we're gonna play our church rhythms in the juke joint.
Check out the break. And yet so simple, right? When you think about what Parliament Funkadelic evolved to from these days, and I'm going to tap the Grand Master's knowledge about this, because it seems, and I get a little confused when he talks about the history of this sound.
Yeah,
this is a little Stax-ish. Am I getting a little bit of that Grand Master in here?
You're getting stacks and also a lot of the
come into that mic a little closer.
I'm
there.
sorry. Yeah, you're getting stacks and like the Bar-Kays.
There's another group.
Yeah.
Bar-Kays sound, but a lot of the P-Funk sound like this too came from New Birth.
Okay.
The New Birth, we had that.
Because you can hear that in there.
Yeah.
You can definitely hear that horn break.
That was the beautiful thing about what George Clinton did is he said, all right, fine. The market is saturated with all these groups with their themes and their outfits. I'm going to go counterculture. We're going to do everything they can do, but we're going to come out in a diaper. Yeah. We're going to put a Tony on his head. It's like, and that was brilliant, and that's what I love about George Clinton is that what he contributed there, it was not only was he sort of in a way parroting the themes that were already out there, but at the same time you had to have respect for the parody because he was doing it so well.
See, check this.
I mean, everybody was so good at it.
Check this out.
And that's church. That's tabernacle.
Straight up.
Tabernacle.
Yeah. That's right. When the staple singer's gonna come in.
See, this is some New Birth that you're hearing.
Oh yeah.
And when you talk about church, see, we also had that groove, and then the brother that's singing, Leslie, who's one of the lead singers in the group. He had that. They used to call him preacher because he had that preacher type vocal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we was taking it to the church, the church.
The church.
And of course, Buck and the Preacher Man.
Yeah. Oh, we did
Classic.
that. We did that.
Classic.
Yeah.
Of course I know.
Yeah.
Of course I know.
Yeah.
And let's talk about the fact that was actually a score written for
the
the movie
movie,
Buck and the Preacher Man.
Yeah.
Incredible music came off of that. I tried to pull up one of the songs from that album because I'm a big New Birth fan. I've talked about this all the time.
That's
on
another
the
thing that
show.
doesn't go on is musical scoring. These
Yeah.
groups coming up with these amazing orchestration and musical score. Who does that today?
I know.
Because they don't want to spend the money on. Everybody thinks they can put together a beat, and then the companies don't want to spend the money on the production of what it would take to score a film properly.
But they're spending on advertising. And that's what I'm saying is like that's the problem is that in this mad scramble to try to just make money as quick as possible, you're gutting the culture. And that's across the board. I mean, I went and saw Star Trek recently.
I saw that mess.
And I was like, this is a terrible movie.
Is it
But
really?
It
Yeah.
made money, but it was terrible. And I remember the scoring was terrible, was overdone, didn't fit what the action. Every solution to every problem they had was to kick something or to rip wires out and it started working. It was a meathead
That's
movie.
funny. Kick something or rip wire.
I ain't lying. Like literally, we're talking about this is supposed to be advanced technology, like warp core, right? He's
He can pull the wires out.
He's in the warp core. This is Captain Kirk in the warp core, and he's got to fix the warp and get it perfectly aligned. What does he do? He holds onto some rafters and kicks it until it goes back, and then at the last minute all right, we're back online. I was like, are you kidding me?
No, not only that, he dies and lives.
Yeah, he completely dies.
Wow.
They put some special blood on him. He comes back to life. Like it was insanely stupid. Now the part that got me about it though was at the end of the day, everybody, to a degree, enjoyed it. Somebody would just yell out. I said, "What do you think about the movie?" He said, "It was awesome." And I was like, "That's all you got to say." The thing about it though is that what happens is when you chase that dollar like that, and you just continue to, before long you look up and all that short-term gain, there's none left.
Wow.
That's why they have to keep creating so many blockbusters.
Yeah.
It used to be like once a year you'd have a blockbuster. Now every movie's got to be a blockbuster.
Yeah, and now they're a slave to it now because they bank so much on it, right?
Well,
you take for example, and you just want to
go ahead.
In this, you take for example a huge blockbuster that was an amazing movie, Aliens. How much money?
Let's do it 5 times.
Yeah. How much money did he spend on advertising that movie? Not much. And I remember the trailer didn't show you nothing. All it showed you was them suiting up, had some light orchestration, the tension was there. You didn't see a single alien, you didn't see a single bit of action. But by the end of that trailer, you were like, I want to see this movie. And then when you saw it, it did not disappoint. And that's what we're dealing with today. And the score on that film, amazing. So what we're dealing with now is a departure from artistry, because there's an absolute fear of taking any risk whatsoever.
And that's why I must say, to the alien, I have something here for you. Go on and put it on, alien.
Wow, yeah. Just first I'm a grasshopper, now I'm an alien. It's kind of the same, I guess.
I guess. Oh, there we go.
The sounds that you're hearing is that of the bad Mamma Jamma himself, Carl Carlton. This was a big song in Philly.
Really big, man. In the summers of Philly. I want to ask Grandmaster, what years? Late 60s? Early 70s?
Late 60s, early 70s.
Yeah. I remember this in the summers, man. This was popping all throughout the hoods.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about this. Let's give it a listen first.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
This is a really fresh sound. It kind of makes me think more late 60s.
Yeah, it was late 60s going into the 70s.
Very early 70s.
I remember that too, West Philly, going to the hoagie shop, you know what I mean? It's like,
I can smell the oil now.
Yeah, boy.
His voice sounded really feminine too. I remember
and that
hearing
was the
this
thing
as a child.
about him.
I thought it was a woman.
Yeah. Let's talk about Carl Carlton. Yeah. Give us a little background on this brother here.
Carl, his record was produced by Leon Haywood. Actually, that's where we were shooting the reality show from, at his studio. Leon has had a studio on Crenshaw for as long as Rich has had gray hair.
Ever since I've been working with Grandmaster, so that hasn't been that long.
That hasn't been that long.
My hair was as dark as Obama's, like when he came into office. Now it's all gray. But that's all right.
I love it.
But no, Leon, he wrote this song. He wrote Bad Mamma Jamma. I mean, Leon put the work on him. Oh, yeah. And Leon wrote a lot of other tunes. He had a couple of hits out himself too. You remember Leon?
Leon Haywood had a couple of great hits out. I'm going to pull up some of his music. He alone was an incredible songwriter and apparently arranger.
Yeah,
yeah,
he's an arranger too.
Exactly.
He came. Leon was in that bracket with Willie Hutch, who did the Mac. Yeah. You know, I mean. That Superfly Curtis Mayfield era.
That was an interesting era because you had a time where
just in case
blacks are just starting to do film, and the soundtracks were always so much better than the films because we had all these generations of practicing music and the filmmaking was new.
For you young people who don't know who Leon Haywood is, this might give you a little bit of a reminder because this song was so sampled. Got everybody moving. Oh, baby. Had to get that in just to get a rise out of the grand.
I heard you, brother, trying to sing. But
vote of confidence from one of my judges out there. Thank you very much.
You know where that where Leon got the song from, right?
Tell us.
You don't hear the sound?
I do.
Dun, dun, dun.
New Birth, there it is.
You knew where he was going with that.
No,
I'm only kidding.
He's just kidding.
Barry White?
Marvin Gaye.
Isn't that Isaac Hayes?
No, brother.
Wow, that's 4 guesses. Tell us.
It's
Take a guess.
You don't know?
No. The song Smiling Faces Sometimes.
Distinction.
Yeah.
Distinction. Friends of
Thank you very
distinction.
much.
Yeah.
We're your friends. Yeah.
Really?
You hear that?
Yeah.
Listen. Smiling faces sometimes.
All right. So
they all tell the truth.
This is a good moment. We've only got a few minutes left in the show. I've got to ask, when you look at chord structures, and again, mind you, I'm not at all musically inclined, as Grandmaster so often likes to point out.
Yes, indeed.
But I got a pretty good ear for music.
The ear only.
What is this?
But it's cool. I'm sorry. I understand.
That was a good one there, man. Is this chord structure that I'm hearing that sounds like the Friends of Distinction, Smiling Faces?
Chord and melody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you as a layman, I look at music that how many different combinations thereof can you get? Well, do the math. There certainly is an astronomical number out there, but at the very primal level of sound and music, and rhythm, the way we like it, there is this recurring thing. Is the best that I could identify that makes, like, soon as you hear it, everybody at the table started grooving, even though Encore started grooving to this.
Yeah. It's the old proverb. There is nothing new under the sun.
Right, exactly.
Everything you're doing is just a collection of things that came before you, and so you're just adding your own little funk to it, which is your own.
And
personal
it's not plagiarism either. It is, that there's nothing new, but it's a rearrangement of these chord structures and rhythms and melodies
and
that make these songs distinct.
And that's when it gets real subjective, because there's a point in which you go, okay, even I. I'm very much against people wholesale taking something somebody else did and just, but at the same time, I recognize you're pretty much doing something somebody already did anyway.
Right.
So, I mean, even if you get down to the basic pounding on a drum, you're replicating your mother's heartbeat. So you have a
very well put
foundation that you're pretty much repeating. And there comes a point where I keep getting back to this. It's that thing that you can't define, that thing you can't quantify, the thing that your logic can't really explain. It's a feeling. It's your sentiment that you get out of it, and you can feel this person was trying to do something here, right? You feel it, even though you can see all their influences, where they got this from and that from. You feel them in it, and that's why we can hear this stuff and we can say, oh yeah, but when I'm hearing that song, I'm not thinking of the Friends of Distinction.
It's not a familiar thing. Yeah.
My ear may pick up on it and go, oh, I can see his influence, but what I'm feeling from that song, I'm going, that's
his uniquely.
We got a request. I was going to play this request before we close out, so let me. Here we go.
There we go.
Yeah. This is the mighty, mighty Donny Hathaway.
Can't go wrong with Donny Hathaway.
Giving up is hard to do. When you really love someone, giving up so hard to do. When you still depend upon her warm and tender touch, her kiss and her caress. Ooh, that used to mean so much. And to bring you happiness. Oh, giving up.
Donny Hathaway.
Now, your singing is illustrating something about Donnie that I've always appreciated. He comes in when he feels like he's going to come in. You know, like every time you expect, okay, he's going to come in now. He goes, no, I'm going to come in right now. Right? Because that's what I mean by the feeling.
He's controlling
exactly.
You know, the music. The music doesn't control him.
Exactly.
He controls the music. He takes it where he wants to take it. That's a real performer.
And few people achieve that degree like Donnie did. I mean, because he could have his whole band and they're doing just what, and then he could play.
Yeah.
And that's what people didn't understand about him. And people who get to that level, they go, oh, this person's a perfectionist. They don't get it. When you can drill it and drill it and drill it to the point where you got it, then you can play. And it's one of the things, it took me learning how to play kora to figure that out. Because one of the things we do when we're learning the kora is we play simple stuff over and over. And I can't tell you how many hours I've logged in on certain songs, certain basic rhythms. But I don't have to think about them. If my fingers touch the strings, I'm just going to start, my fingers will start going. And I don't have to think about what's that change that's supposed to happen. It just happens. And then when you get to that space, you can just play. You literally play. It's like child's play. You just, and then people hear things and go, that was amazing. And what they don't understand is you're getting lost in it. You're just like, all the technical stuff and all the foundational stuff, that stuff's so solid, I can just play now. And that's one of the things that I'm just in awe about Donny Hathaway, because he was doing that with a whole band.
Oh yeah, man, he was good God. Donnie would have hurt Stevie. He would have hurt it.
That would be an interesting battle.
And I love Steve. Steve's my man. But Donnie was my boy too. You know what I mean? I used to hang out with Donnie. There was a place called the Baby Grand right next to the Apollo Theater. So, you know, when the Apollo or when all the other clubs, you know, would let out, everybody would go to the Baby Grand. And you'd see people like, you'd see Donny Hathaway, Roberta Flack, Miles Davis, you know what I mean, different people that would come and they would jam from 2 o'clock until 6 o'clock in the morning. You know? I mean, it would just be crazy, man. You know?
One of my favorite Donny Hathaway songs in the background, growing up in the inner city, man, this was like a
Little
theme
Ghetto
song.
Boy, yes,
Yeah.
indeed.
Yeah.
And
And,
you know,
this is the live edition of it. And listen how clear it sounds.
Yeah.
Hey, who was that band behind it?
Oh, that was a lot of different people. Right? The percussionist that's plays with Stevie now too.
All right, so Grandmaster, we got to get on up out of here, man. It's about that time.
All right, people. I hope you have been loving it and listening to us. Jerry Bell's R&B Soul Classics here at LA Talk Live, y'all, every Wednesday from 2 to 4. Next week, we are going to have the delicious Honeys on the show.
All right.
The Emotions. And then the week
On the 19th, actually on the 19th, we are scheduled for Mr. Bobby Brown to come down and jump around and teach the grasshopper how, a
couple little one-legged dance moves,
yeah,
perhaps.
Teach the grasshopper how to follow his own prerogative.
Right, you know what I mean? Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're glad you're listening in. We love you all for sure. Please continue to check us out. Call in if you choose that you want, and you want to make any requests or you have anything to talk about or say, long as it's respectful. Because if you don't, we will find you. We will send the one-legged grasshopper after you. He has learned how to kick on one leg with holding his wing.
And let me do an announcement too.
Yeah.
I will be featured at the Griot Cafe.
Oh yeah.
In Long Beach at Shades of Africa.
Yes, indeed.
This Saturday, 8:00. So come out and join me. I'm going to give you an amazing show. I'm always like RBG and Black Power, but it's time for me to unleash my sexy side. So come out and get some.
Come out and get
some of that sexy. Yeah, I want some.
Hey. All right.
I like it meat.
Be careful now.
Yeah, I gotta go.
Hey, Encore, you want to say anything?
Yeah, get in there, Encore, and say a little something.
Say something.
Little something. Say hi, Ma. Hi, Dad.
Hi.
Hey there.
Say hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Man, I love him. I gotta hook him up with my son, Jelly Bean. They look a little bit alike.
Don't get no idea.
They just look alike. I mean, I'm just trying to, maybe he can teach my son a little martial arts, so he can grow up.
He can teach you some.
Maybe, maybe be a competitor in the world.
Of course, he got to get a shot in before we bounce.
Wow, that hurts.
We're here with our co-host Abraham and our co-host Miss Tasha Set.
Yes.
My main man here. Encore. We have the lovely Tasha's.
Miss Frederica is in the room. Yes.
As usual, as always.
She's dressed up real nice to come up in here and sit
you know
around
what I mean?
with us.
She's got to let,
craziness.
you know what I mean? Look, as much ugly as crawling around behind the counter, you know what I mean?
So here's where I'm going to leave you with a little bit of music. Thank you very much. Grandmaster, take us out, why don't you?
Yes, sir. And here with our main man, Mr. Rich. Grasshopper.
Couldn't think of what to say, what to call that.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's all love.
Yeah,
it's all
you know
love.
what I mean? Yeah.
Hey, listen, it's
I
a
love
battle
it.
of music.
Yeah.
2 men enter, both men leave.
Yeah.
Nobody bleeds, and it's all.
I love the grasshopper, you know what I'm saying? Even though he's broken wing and
Yeah, it's all good.
one hop leg, you know.
And what does that say about your defense skills? I'm whooping that booty with what little bit I'm working with. Oh my God! You better get back in your dusties. You might need some more albums in the one you saw behind.
He's gonna say, okay, what happened was the sun was there. I was distracted. Now there was dust in my eye. There's a glare.
Oh, check it out.
I don't think Encore likes anything you said. Because he is mean mugging you like. What you say?
About my dad.
What you say about my dad? What a beautiful.
So
kid,
we
man.
will be back next week, ladies and gentlemen. Same time, same bat channel. You're here with Jerry Bell's R&B Soul Classics on LA Talk Live, y'all. We love you much. We much love you. Peace out.
I knew we met each other this morning for a reason. Thinking, talking, we've worked out our problems. Look like we should have better days in front. Just because we took our time to think and talk for a much better understanding.
Y'all coming from my four-cornered room. Yeah.